Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Great. So welcome with the last podcast recording of the first day at the Things conference. My name is Wienke Giezeman. Here with me Alistair Fulton from Blues and Jaap Groot from Ignion. Please guys, introduce yourself first, Alistair.
I think you did, Alistair Fulton from Blues.
Great.
I'm COO at Blues. We're a company focused on making connectivity simple, which would be a nice thing, wouldn't it?
Cool.
Good. Thank you, Alistair. And Jaap, CEO of Ignion, making that simple connectivity even better with superb antennas. So,
cool. Very nice. So we did this before, and I think the theme was always kind of like gathering all this experience that you guys have, and I also now for 10 years already in IoT. And I think the first question we always have is with all that experience, does history repeat? Are we today making the same mistakes we did before? And if so, what are they, and what can we learn? So, I mean, Jaap, I know you have some really exhaustive telemetry experience back to the TomTom days, and so are we making the same mistakes again, or kind of like?
No, I wouldn't call it a mistake. I think yes, history is repeating itself, and maybe most of us have learned. I think it's not mistakes. It's more that things have become much more complicated, because in my TomTom days there was only SMS.
Yeah.
And today I can choose from at least 10 LP1s. So I wouldn't disqualify all the efforts that we went through in terms of mistakes, and also the number of connections have gone up. The devices have, look at this event here. There's hundreds and hundreds of devices. People are even starting to copying your wall. So we're doing something right.
Even the marketing is being copied. Yeah, that's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's good. Good. And you have the cloud background, the connectivity.
Yeah, I mean, my background is I guess I started in building solutions and then worked on Azure IoT and the Hitachi Lumada platform, and then Semtech, LoRa. So I kind of went in reverse from solutions back to silicon. I think we are not making the same mistakes in some areas. I think the whole adventure of building separate IoT platforms turned out to have been a mistake. And I say that advisedly, having built two of them. We built these separate entities, and I think you've seen those businesses actually in many instances fail or be shut down, and devices started to be treated as equal citizens, I guess. I think we're continuing to make some mistakes, particularly in the connectivity space. I think introducing more and more and more and more and more new radio choices is a mistake. I think when you look at the available toolkit, not just LoRaWAN, there's pretty much something for everything right now. And what customers don't need is more choice. They just need the things that they've got to work. And I think that's getting a lot better as well. Yeah. I think things are getting technologies like LoRaWAN, cellular, are getting much easier for customers to use. Still a lot of work to do.
Yeah. So what you said, like I really love what you're saying, like in the TomTom days. You were talking about like end 90s, or like midway 90s?
Yeah, end of the 90s, correct.
And so what were these solutions about? Just like I would love to, like, if you have some examples and see where we can reflect. And
oh yeah.
Is it what we have on the wall now, like categorically better?
Yes.
Yes. So
yes.
How did that telemetry solution look like in 1995?
So let me tell you a nice anecdote about SMS and hooking up. We were talking here about range and spreading factors, and I don't know, in the LoRa world. We were in a trucking business, and we had installed this fabulous DAF board computer hooked up to our software, and KPN SMS C1 number 1. So anyway, early days. And of course the dispatcher sends a message, and he says, the driver, please come back, I have another pallet for you.
Okay, when he was already leaving?
Yes,
that's like
just to test.
Yeah,
right?
So
and the next day, around lunchtime, the driver came back. So this dispatcher goes, John, what are you doing here? He says, no, you told me to come back. Yeah, that was yesterday. Oh, so of course we had to dig in, and the roaming between Deutsche Telekom and KPN and blah, blah, blah. So guys, this is not a mistake. Everybody's learning. Yes, we make too much of things, and we make it too complex.
Yeah.
But the world is getting better, I think, in general.
But so basically, what we saw, we diverged into all these different options, and then including a huge pile of money that went into the IoT industry, and then actually diverged more, and now you see kind of thing, like I wouldn't say converging, it's like more rationalization and things dropping off.
Yeah.
And so you guys are kind of bringing all these technologies into one interface at Blues. So how do people receive that kind of like because actually you're solving these board, like in this example you solve the problem of a board computer, basically that in any way the delivery guy can
I think the customers that we deal with predominantly are companies that make stuff. They make refrigeration units, they make tractors, they make all manner of machinery. They know nothing about connectivity. They know the value that they're expected to deliver from IoT and AI, but don't know how to do it. And they could care less about what the radio is. They want just to be able to get a device working, get data from it, and whatever the radio does in the background is magic they don't want to understand. And that's what Blues has delivered. Everything is accessible through a JSON API. You don't even need to know whether it's a cellular, LTE-M, Cat1M, or a WAN. It doesn't make any difference. And I think that level of simplicity and convergence, where companies like Blues are doing the work for customers to really tightly integrate hardware and software so that it actually delivers a good user experience. The ultimate example being the iPhone. I mean, we're kind of going in that direction. Do the work, deliver a good experience, and let the customer focus on what they want to do in the first place, which is get data and do something with it.
Great. So tapping into your vast amount of knowledge and background, so I think at like before the IoT hype, you were hired by Hitachi as an executive. That's correct, right?
Sorry?
You were hired by Hitachi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And and I think that was a time frame a bit before the hype, before the Sigfox LoRa.
No, it was 2016 we started building Lumada. Okay. We started Azure IoT it was called B3. We started that in 2009, and it took several iterations to get to a mature platform. And it reached maturity, I'd say, around 2011, 2012. We got there faster with Hitachi Lumada. We built that in 2 years. But you know, having made the mistakes before, we at least avoided the mistakes we'd already made.
And so kind of like if you would reflect back on that time, if you kind of like if you would have the technology and the tools that we have now back then, kind of can you paint a picture on how that would significantly be different or better?
Well, I think the industry went through a period where we thought that customers knew what they wanted to do and how to do it, and if we built toolkits that did everything, then they would basically figure it out. That turned out not to be the case. I think there are multiple IoT platforms that over time were grown with that goal. Hitachi Lumada was a very different approach in that it was designed to be part of Hitachi's product offering. So Hitachi has 1,000 and something operating companies, most of which make stuff or extract stuff, and the Lumada platform was built as an add-on to all of those, so that the customer would buy a backhoe, and the backhoe would turn up with analytics inbuilt and so on. So I think we could have got to that point much quicker, where we just made machines intelligent and delivered intelligent machines out of the box, rather than giving customers toolkits to go figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, because I think what I always kind of like, if people say, well, like, what should we do in IoT? It's that, like, don't do IoT, kind of become very, very good at one operational problem, and then see if IoT can help. So it feels like Hitachi is like sitting on a gold mine of problems, like they should be so successful. But even for them, it was then probably hard to integrate. But I think now, I mean, we have them as a customer, even like they're doing a lot of IoT, but it just goes a bit slower.
They used it as a method to transform the business. So the guy who was sponsor of the Lumada platform is now the global CEO of the entirety of Hitachi, and so he took the Lumada platform as a core part of his transformation strategy to digitize the business.
Yeah.
No,
So he became COO.
CEO.
CEO.
So he's
CEO.
now global CEO of 3% of Japan's GDP at last count. So really a whole company-wide transformation. You've seen other companies try to do that, GE obviously notably, and fail because they lacked, I think, the command and control structure of a Japanese, multinational like Hitachi. But it's one of the few real success stories, I think, in industrial IoT and industrial companies digitizing.
Yeah.
It actually really stands out.
But and it also feels like it is because they started so early. It is that they started like kind of 9-10 years ago.
Yeah.
You have to go through these cycles of like failing forward.
Well, there's design cycles for equipment of 4, 5, 6 years anyway. So even to get into some of the equipment, there had to be a mature platform. So that's 2-3 years, and then another 5 or 6 years after that gets you quite quickly to 9. And so now they're starting to deliver. And I think that timeline issue, talking of what we could have done sooner, I think if the industry as a whole had really focused on that timeline issue that every customer faces and tried to figure out collectively how to shorten, how to make things simpler, focusing on interoperability. I think the IoT has really been held up by lots of companies trying to compete, trying to do different things. And as a result, customers are faced with choosing between lots and lots of small companies doing things that don't work together. Yeah. And they've just sat back and waited until, the adults are in the room.
That's done. Yeah, it's funny. And then the next challenge, I was at the Hannover Messe talking with a VP of product of Siemens, and they said, all our products are connected. The only thing, like when our systems integrators and distributor partners, they don't turn on the connectivity 80% of the time, right? So like our next challenge is not only kind of like it's all works, it's all data, like it's completely ready. But now we need to find the
economic incentive,
the conservative part of the ecosystem. Yeah, but it's actually it's really education. So, but yeah, we're getting there, right? So. Kind of like at some point you enter the LP1 world. You worked for Sigfox. Well, like kind of like very interesting period you had there. Yeah. With all respect, it's another great LP1 technology, and they're now finding their way in the market. Anything you can reflect on that? Also, what we knew right now, what you now see in the market, how we operate.
Yes, maybe if we look at where we are today with AI, that reminds me of where we were in 2012, 2013 in IoT.
Yes.
Money was for free. You printed something, you connected something, and
a PowerPoint.
Exactly. And the best on Sand Hill Road. Europe is a bit more down to earth, but so that doesn't fly. The world doesn't, as you said, it doesn't turn around like that. If things are connected, that's nice, but then what are you going to do with that digital information? And if you can't translate that, I think the next step forward is maybe also with the quantum computing and stuff to be able to predict much better how things can be used or will be used before you even build something, before you even do something. And if I translate that to the business where I'm in, where we use a lot of simulation to make sure the antenna works and stuff, that took days or hours. Today we can do it in seconds. But imagine that in 5 or 10 years, where you bring a platform, you bring a business problem, and even you don't have to, you can tell the Siemens guy, throw it into ChatGPT, he will tell you how to use it.
Yeah. So. No, I totally agree. I think I saw this, I used it in the opening keynote this morning, but I think this statement by somebody said, like, we're having a paradigm shift from humans being the sole consumer of data, now AI being the sole consumer of data, and it's also for telemetry. That's definitely.
I'll tell you a nice story. So in our world, customers come and say, I have this great idea. I want to build this great connected device, and then a human being tells him or her, but sir, there is a reason why it doesn't exist, because it's physically impossible. Yeah. And the guy goes and tries to build it. Yeah. Right, but it doesn't work. Now, what we do it in AI, they don't start building it because the computer says it's impossible. Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. No, it's insane. I think the Copilot assist that our engineers have, it's insane. And And kind of an IoT consultant in ChatGPT is actually really, really good. Like if you ask it these kind of questions, it's because it's very also very painful because basically there's very little consultative selling in the IoT world. It's like if you go to somebody and say, hey, what's the best idea? You will get the story of that's aligned with the incentive of the person that's speaking. So you're doing this very interesting thing where you help with antenna design and you're kind of lowering the barrier to entry. That's almost a self-service platform saying, hey, I have this, can you design this kind of antenna for me?
Yeah.
Can you tell a bit more about that?
Yeah, so the platform is called Oxion, but initially when I entered into this world, and I think for Alistair in Blues it's the same, if you let people do discrete things, it takes time. Yeah. And they'll have to learn about all the stuff. So the more we can put it together before people can touch it, the better. So for us, it took 5 hours for an engineer to tell our customer and do the simulation, and on average 5 hours to give consulting. 5 hours is $500, and 90% of my customers never bought anything. In Spain. Yeah. Yes, thank you. The idea was, okay, how can we put that all into a box and basically automate this whole thing? And then this was before AI, before ML. So we just started putting stuff in a database, and now it's called a data lake, and it becomes intelligent. And at the end of the day, it was an internal efficiency question, which now turns out to be an answer in a browser on questions that engineers may have.
These are great businesses. Amazon Web Services started like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I don't think that it's the answer to everything, to be honest, but yes, we can, like in my presentation, we can make it Lego simple.
But and also, I think now that people start to understand if they put something in ChatGPT is that they also understand it's kind of a guess, and like 5% of the time it's wrong. You have to be critical to it, right? So I think like that would be helping you guys as well. Like if people understand, okay, this is a very good guess, but maybe I need to kind of like review it or ask it again or kind of like fix the last 5%. I think it's fascinating, and it's also interesting. So there's a lot of hardware engineers here, and probably also people are listening. We know that hardware engineers are incredibly stubborn. So you're bringing them these packaged solutions. But yeah, I can imagine there's a new generation of engineers coming that just will. They don't know how to go without these tools.
We've talked a lot about cloud-first engineers. That really. If you look at the graduates coming out from universities with either computer science or even electronic engineering degrees, they're functioning, I'll say, at a higher level. For a long time, the embedded industry has been held up by a lack of new graduates with deep embedded engineering skills. And I think, it's a chicken and egg, isn't it? Partly because of that, there aren't the skills necessary to figure out how to build connected devices. And maybe in response, the industry is starting to deliver solutions which don't require those skills. It's a lot easier to hire someone who comes with PHP, Python, Ruby on Rails than it is to find someone who's actually deep in C, for example. And if companies can hire people quicker and for less money, then they can build solutions faster and you deliver the benefits of it. So you're right. I mean, I do get this sort of friction with really experienced engineers who look at what we're doing, and there's always I could do that. And of course they could, but it would just take them 24 months, and they could spend that 24 months actually using their embedded engineering skills to build a really good sensor or to build a really good end-to-end solution. And it's that kind of realization that you kind of get through. Not always. There is stubbornness, but that's what we try to explain to folks. That you can get there quicker, you can do more, you deliver more value, deliver more projects. Just don't do the hard bit. We've already done that for you. It's all pain. I think a lot of connectivity is just pain and cost to get to a point where you can actually start doing something interesting.
And it's plumbing that everybody keeps repeating over and over again, right? Like, and you guys are making sure that the plumbing is already there, and then they can focus on their.
And it should just work. It should just be easy to use and just work. It's not the right solution for everything, by any means, but it makes the job of companies that make machines much easier. And there are a lot of companies that make machines. and they know they need to build intelligent machines in the future, and it just does that work for them.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we as an industry just kind of like make sure exactly what you were saying is that if we have a bit more ready-made components, we don't get anybody tempted to build complete discrete solutions. We'll get there. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys very much. See you next year. We're going to make this a tradition.
Don't die in the meantime.
No, I don't die.
At some point it's over.
I almost said that's also good. That's also a good objective, right? So let's start with that. And thanks everybody for listening, and thanks for
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah, don't die.